The Galapagos Islands, a wild paradise of evolution. The Galapagos Islands, sitting more than 600 miles off Ecuador's coastline, are far from just another cluster of volcanic landforms. They stand as a testament to the power of nature, showing us how life adapts, evolves, and thrives in isolation. Most famously brought to the world's attention by Charles Darwin during his 1835 visit, the Galapagos inspired his groundbreaking theory of evolution by natural selection. But beyond their scientific significance, these islands remain a breathtaking haven, untouched by much of human development, with landscapes and wildlife that feel like a glimpse into another world. This remote archipelago is made up of 13 main islands, 6 smaller ones, and over 40 islets, each with its own distinct ecosystem. Shaped by volcanic forces over millions of years, and still evolving today, these islands have become a sanctuary for an incredible variety of species. The volcanic activity that formed them still plays a role in shaping the terrain, giving the Galapagos a unique look that continues to change over time. The isolation of these islands, paired with such rich biodiversity, has turned the Galapagos into one of Earth's most fascinating living laboratories, where the ongoing dance of evolution and adaptation unfolds in real time. As you explore this wild paradise, you'll witness firsthand how the delicate balance of life here continues to evolve, a reminder of the raw beauty and mystery that nature holds. Darwin's revolutionary observations. When Charles Darwin set out on his journey aboard the HMS Beagle, he had no idea his findings would ignite a revolution in the scientific world. The Galapagos Islands played a pivotal role in shaping Darwin's theory of evolution. As he explored the islands, Darwin noticed subtle yet significant differences in species from one island to another, particularly in the finches. These birds, now widely known as Darwin's finches, had varying beak shapes specifically adapted to the types of food available on their respective islands. Finches that needed to crack hard seeds developed stronger, thicker beaks, while others had slender beaks for catching insects. This discovery prompted Darwin to challenge the existing belief that species were unchangeable. He realized that species could adapt to their environments over time, and these changes could lead to the formation of entirely new species. This concept of natural selection, where organisms better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce, laid the foundation for Darwin's groundbreaking work on the origin of species. The role of isolation in evolution. One of the most crucial factors in the evolution of species on the Galapagos Islands is their geographical isolation. Being located over 600 miles from the mainland, species that made their way to the islands had to adapt to the vastly different environments found on each one. Over millions of years, this isolation allowed species to evolve independently from their mainland ancestors, resulting in the creation of new, distinct species. The Galapagos became an ideal setting for speciation, the process where different species evolve from a common ancestor due to environmental pressures. Take the giant tortoises, for example. These creatures evolved different shell shapes depending on the terrain and food sources available on each island. Similarly, Marine species like the Galapagos penguins and marine iguanas developed unique traits that allowed them to thrive in the cold, nutrient-rich waters surrounding the islands. The absence of natural predators on some islands also led to behavioral adaptations. The evolutionary changes that occurred due to the isolation of these islands provide vital insights into how species evolve and adapt to their environments over time. The giant tortoises, guardians of the Galapagos. The Galapagos giant tortoises are not only the most famous inhabitants of the islands, but also incredible examples of survival and adaptation. These enormous creatures, weighing up to 880 pounds and living for more than a century, are the largest tortoises on Earth. Their ability to endure such long lifespans, combined with slow metabolisms, has helped them thrive in an environment where food can sometimes be scarce. Each island boasts its own distinct subspecies of tortoise, specially adapted to the unique conditions found there. In the 19th century, their numbers were nearly wiped out due to excessive hunting by whalers and the introduction of invasive species like rats, pigs, and goats. These invasive animals ravaged their habitats and preyed on their eggs. Thankfully, decades of tireless conservation efforts, including breeding programs and removing invasive species, have helped restore their population. Today, giant tortoises are critical to the Galapagos ecosystem, playing a vital role by spreading seeds and balancing vegetation growth. Darwin's finches. Evolution at work. Darwin's finches remain one of the most iconic symbols of evolution in action. There are 13 species of finches on the Galapagos Islands, each with uniquely adapted beak sizes and shapes designed for their specific feeding needs. The variation in their beaks highlights how crucial adaptation is for survival. Finches that inhabit islands with tough seeds have evolved stronger, thicker beaks, while those that feed on insects have developed slender, pointed beaks. Recent studies show that these finches continue to evolve in response to environmental shifts. For example, scientists have observed changes in beak size due to droughts, which are linked to climate change. As food sources fluctuate, the finch's adaptations offer modern researchers real-time insights into how species evolve in response to environmental pressures, further supporting Darwin's revolutionary findings. The marine ecosystem, a hidden world beneath the waves. The Galapagos Islands are not just celebrated for their unique land animals, but also for the incredible marine life that flourishes in the surrounding waters. Thanks to the nutrient-rich Humboldt Current flowing from the south, the islands support an extraordinary array of marine species. From hammerhead sharks and whale sharks to manta rays and sea turtles, the diversity under the surface is as breathtaking as the wildlife above. The Galapagos Marine Reserve, one of the largest in the world, was created to protect this delicate underwater ecosystem. As a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it provides a safe haven for countless marine creatures. However, despite these protections, illegal fishing, plastic pollution, and the impacts of climate change pose significant threats. Conservationists are working relentlessly to safeguard these waters, ensuring that the awe-inspiring marine life of the Galapagos can continue to thrive for generations to come. The resilient flora of the Galapagos. Plants that adapt to thrive. Though the wildlife of the Galapagos often steals the spotlight, the island's unique plant life deserves equal recognition. The flora of the Galapagos has evolved to withstand harsh conditions, where water is limited and the soil lacks nutrients. From towering giant cacti and resilient mangroves to the endemic Scalesia trees, these plants have developed remarkable strategies to survive. Take the Opuntia cactus, for instance, which has grown tall and covered in sharp spines to deter herbivores and retain precious moisture. Along the coast, mangroves play a critical role in preventing erosion and provide essential nurseries for marine species. The plants of the Galapagos showcase the same incredible adaptability seen in the animals, thriving in a landscape that demands resilience and innovation. Conservation efforts, balancing tourism and preservation. The Galapagos Islands have become one of the most sought-after ecotourism destinations globally, attracting over 200,000 visitors annually. This surge in tourism provides a crucial income source for the local economy, supporting conservation efforts and the livelihoods of many. However, the increasing number of visitors also brings significant risks to the fragile ecosystems of the islands. Unregulated tourism can lead to habitat destruction, increased pollution, and the introduction of invasive species that threaten the delicate balance of life in the Galapagos. Recognizing these challenges, the Galapagos National Park has implemented strict measures to manage tourism sustainably. They regulate the number of visitors allowed to certain islands, require tourists to be accompanied by certified guides, and enforce biosecurity protocols to prevent the accidental introduction of non-native species. These efforts aim to protect the environment while ensuring that tourism remains a positive force for both the islands and the people who live there. Through sustainable tourism, visitors are not only encouraged to appreciate the natural beauty of the islands, but also educated about the importance of conservation, making them advocates for protecting this precious ecosystem. The impact of climate change, a growing threat. The Galapagos Islands are not immune to the growing threats posed by climate change. Rising ocean temperatures, driven by global warming, are already having a profound impact on the island's marine and land species. Warmer waters have caused a reduction in marine algae, a vital food source for creatures like marine iguanas. The depletion of this food source is leading to population declines, as these unique reptiles struggle to find enough to eat. Moreover, rising sea levels threaten the nesting grounds of Galapagos penguins and marine turtles, both of which rely on coastal areas for reproduction. As the water encroaches on these critical nesting sites, These species face increasing challenges in maintaining their populations. Another major concern is the increased frequency and intensity of El Niño events. These climatic disturbances bring warmer ocean temperatures and drought conditions to the islands, further upsetting the delicate ecological balance. For example, the lack of marine algae during these events can cause mass die-offs of marine iguanas, while drought conditions severely impact the availability of food for land animals. The long-term effects of climate change on the Galapagos are still unfolding, but it's clear that urgent action is needed to protect these vulnerable species from further harm. Endemic species, nature's isolated experiments. The Galapagos Islands are home to an extraordinary number of endemic species, plants and animals that exist nowhere else on Earth. These species have evolved in isolation over millions of years, adapting to the unique environments of each island. The giant tortoises and marine iguanas are perhaps the most famous examples, but the Galapagos is also home to lesser-known endemic species like the Galapagos penguin, the only penguin species to live north of the equator. One of the most fascinating examples of adaptation is the flightless cormorant. Over time, this bird lost its ability to fly because there were no natural land predators on the islands. Instead, it evolved into a powerful swimmer, using its wings to dive and catch fish. This remarkable adaptation allows the flightless cormorant to thrive in the Galapagos marine environment. However, its inability to fly makes it particularly vulnerable to invasive predators, such as rats and cats, which were introduced by humans. The uniqueness of these species highlights the importance of conserving the Galapagos. The islands serve as a living laboratory for studying evolution, and preserving their endemic wildlife is essential not only for maintaining biodiversity, but also for understanding the broader mechanisms of life on Earth. The giant tortoises, guardians of the islands. The Galapagos giant tortoises are perhaps the most iconic residents of the islands, and their story is one of resilience and adaptation. Weighing up to 880 pounds and living for over a century, these reptiles are the largest tortoises in the world. Their long lifespans and slow metabolisms allow them to survive on the islands, where food sources may be scarce. Each island has its own unique subspecies of tortoise, adapted to local conditions. In the 19th century, giant tortoises were nearly driven to extinction due to hunting by whalers and the introduction of invasive species such as rats, pigs, and goats. These invasive animals decimated the tortoises' habitats and preyed on their eggs. However, through decades of conservation efforts, including captive breeding programs and the removal of invasive species, the giant tortoise populations have rebounded. Today, they play a crucial role in the ecosystem by dispersing seeds and maintaining the balance of vegetation. a legacy of evolution and conservation. The Galapagos Islands are more than just a stunning natural wonder. They are a living testament to the power of evolution. These islands offer invaluable insights into how species adapt and evolve in response to environmental pressures. The lessons learned from the Galapagos are not just relevant to scientists, but to all of humanity. They serve as a reminder of the delicate balance that exists between humans and the environment, and the urgent need to conserve the natural world. As climate change continues to pose new threats and human activity increases, the conservation of the Galapagos is more critical than ever. Protecting these islands isn't just about preserving biodiversity. It's about safeguarding a legacy of life's ability to adapt and survive against all odds. The future of the Galapagos depends on our commitment to their protection, ensuring that these islands continue to inspire and educate generations to come. The question is, what role will you play in preserving this remarkable natural treasure? The Galapagos' story of adaptation and survival offers us all a powerful lesson in how we can rise to meet the environmental challenges facing our world today.